Hello, beautiful souls. I am Valeria Maritza here at Healing Through You. I am an infinite being of light, and so are you. I am so excited today to bring my next guest. This is Dr. Node. He is a naturopathic doctor and a somatic experience practitioner. So I am so excited to bring his essence, his love, his energy to this podcast. So welcome, Dr. Node. How are you today?
Thank you so much, Valeria. I'm doing amazingly well. Yeah.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about yourself for the people who are just getting to know you or just finding out who you are. Just tell us a little bit about you, your background.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I was listening to your 2026 projections and thought, oh man, like I really appreciated the way that you were talking about story and thinking and all these things. And so then when you responded to my email, I was like, okay, I'm really excited
Oh,
to
thank
jump into
you.
this. I am a naturopathic doctor. I practice in Saskatchewan, Canada, and I'm also a somatic experiencing practitioner. So the core of my practice is helping people, really helping people use somatic sensory tracking in order to have more access to these kind of downloads. Uh, some of the language it's difficult to explain it a lot of times, but it I find that it's a skill set that allows people to integrate the material that they're having kind of revelations about, or they see an obstacle or a struggle or a challenge, and we kind of orient to it in a certain way intellectually. And I find that teaching somatic tracking, body awareness allows for those insights to be integrated into the body and for that embodiment to take place that we're always talking about as holistic practitioners and spiritual seekers. We're talking about like, well, what is embodiment? Or we're talking about embodiment, but what
Yeah.
is it? And so that's a lot of what I do in my practice. A lot of my practice has to do with that and conscious development. Um, yeah. So,
For those who don't know what somatic means, because
mm,
that's a word that is understood a lot through the holistic community or spiritual community, but someone who might just be listening to this and is like, what does that even mean? Like, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
oh, absolutely. That's a great question. It's like sometimes we throw out these terms and we just assume that everybody knows what we mean, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's like kind of the story of language. And somatic is just of the body. And so what I mean by somatic tracking or sensory tracking is being aware of what is happening in the body in the present moment. And so, for instance, in this moment right now, I feel a coolness on my feet.
Hmm.
I feel a little jittery in my stomach because, well, I won't go into the meeting. I just feel it.
Uh-huh.
I feel it there. It's kind of like a rising in the lower part of my torso. And then as I say that and as I continue to track, I feel the solidity of my body. I sense my breath, and then I sense a kind of relaxing. And then that jitteriness kind of starts to dissipate. It starts to kind of settle. And I feel myself kind of settling into gravity, into my chair.
So that's just by bringing awareness to what is the physical body feeling.
Yeah, that's all. So everything I just said there, if you'll notice, it doesn't have a story.
Hmm.
Like I stopped myself before I was like, oh, I'm feeling jittery because I'm talking to a new person, right?
Uh-huh.
Just none of that. We're going to pause all that and really only attend to what. what is happening in the experience of right now? And there we can, you know, there are layers to this, of course, but
Hmm.
that's pretty much the most basic primal level. That's our contact point to the nervous system.
Does this also the somatic work also connect to the subconscious? Like, let's say something's happening and you get scared. You don't know what you're actually feeling, but then you can feel like maybe the nervousness or your limbs wanting to like move or protect yourself. But the feeling of perhaps the fear that might go within the subconscious part at that time, is that something that can also be felt?
100%. I mean, 100%. And Valeria, somatic experiencing and other somatic tools primarily are used therapeutically to unravel and process through trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the trauma that's stored in the body, subconsciously in the mind, but also in the body as we, have these kind of traumatic events that happen and we, can't escape from something, or we are in a prolonged period of stress or undergo some type of, yeah, abusive relationship or
Mm-hmm.
endure a traumatic event. And our body wanted to escape at that time, right? It got scared, it had some type of physical response that was stopped. It was like, not able to complete. We weren't able to get to safety. And so that tension, that holding, that defensive posture can often get trapped inside of the body subconsciously.
And we don't know
And
where in the body it's being.
yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I mean, a lot of people can disassociate from the body
Yeah.
and not even have a contact with any sensory experience. They're kind of like these disembodied heads floating around, only thinking about things.
Mm, yeah. These trapped emotions within the body that can be released through somatic work, are these things that can like just be suppressed or repressed within the body and then later on just appear as some type of something, some type of
Well,
physical discomfort, illness?
absolutely, absolutely. I remember when I first got into med school, 10 years ago, and then when I was working on my pre-med, or 15 years ago, and then when I was working on my pre-med stuff, even longer than that, the mind body culture there was a lot of psychosomatic language
Mm,
being talked about, right? These psychological traumas being manifested into the body as symptoms. And that's kind of what we're talking about, right? And the subtext of that kind of, there was a trap or something that could happen in patients, which was really concerning. And that was this psychosomatic language could easily be interpreted as I'm I'm creating this illness
mm,
psychologically.
yeah.
Right. So kind of like, and it could actually support this type of like shame and guilt and judgment, right? We could take on that we're just creating all of our own pain,
Hmm.
right? And what the somatic work has really done is help us understand that none of this is conscious.
This is
Like
really eye-opening because, yeah, I do
yeah,
understand that a lot of us are like, well, we are the creators of our own reality.
exactly.
So,
Yes, which is absolutely true.
uh-huh.
And if we're not conscious of what's beneath the surface, then subconscious material can be interacting behind the scenes in ways that we have just no idea about.
I love that. I love this new way of seeing it, because it just gives us permission to go into it and seeing what it is and heal instead of like, because negative talk is like number one, right? But it's
Right?
right.
Yeah. Mm. Valeria, when you say that word permission, I just notice this softness in me and just like this kind of gentle, soothing sensation all over my body because that's exactly what this work is all about giving ourselves permission to be curious, to be open to welcoming parts of ourselves that are really dangerous and scary and uncomfortable in a way that allows them to be there, be part of us and not be a shameful, critical, shouldn't be there aspect because they are there. We have endured incredible pains and traumas and abuses and addictions, and these are things that are a part of our lives. And the only way through that and to grow and become a new person on the other side is to see these things, integrate them, and and grow from them.
How does that actually work if let's say I come see you and I don't know what I'm suppressing. I don't know what
Mm.
I'm blaming myself as I'm creating it, or some type of subconscious trauma or moment that I suppress within my body. How do I move this when I'm not aware of what's going on?
Yeah. So what's really cool about somatic work is that you don't have to be aware of what's
Hmm.
going on, right? The body is going to guide the whole entire process.
Hmm.
Now, most people who come to see me have done a fair bit of internal work. I'm kind of known as somebody who kind of helps people after they get to that first plateau of internal work, right? Like
Uh-huh.
we're seeing counselor and their counselors, teaching us how to, kind of speak therapy language and whatnot. But then we get to a point where it's like, well, I need somebody to push me a little bit further.
Hmm.
And so I really just get curious about where the pain is, where the discomfort is, what is the access point that the person in front of me is has available to them. And it doesn't take long before, something that they don't want to accept about themselves,
Hmm.
something that they don't want to see comes up. And then the question is it okay to welcome that? And what happens when you welcome that? Or what happens when you see that you cannot welcome that?
Mm. So that also happens.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. I would say the people who oftentimes the individuals who come and they're just so excited and stoked and they want to jump in and do the deep work and all this are the people who end up going the slowest. Because as soon as they're slowed down, it's like, okay, slow down. What's happening in this activation right now? Just slow down, wait, just pause. What's happening in your body? And it's like horrifying. And it's like, oh, maybe I didn't want to jump into the ocean so fast. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Wow. So tell us a little bit more about how does a person who comes to you and it's beginning to reveal, whatever has been stuck, whatever has been holding them back or not putting two things together, and you're working with them, what kind of changes or benefits can they see once they do have a release?
It's so funny that you asked the Valeria. As soon as you said that, I had this vision of it happens all the time, but there's a specific patient who I just saw on Friday. And I think the number one thing that I notice when people start having like releases and making connections and when people contact their true self,
Mm.
what I see happen is their face looks 10 years younger,
Oh.
like almost instantaneously. It's incredible to see. It's just like this youthfulness sets in. And it, yeah, it's like they glow. It's so I mean, you opened up this podcast, by saying you're a divine being of light or infinite being of light. And as we all are,
Yes.
that light is within us. And it's like when we start making these connections and start releasing attachments, and letting go of stories that aren't serving us and coming into contact with a truer, more whole sense of self, that light starts to be seen. And it's pretty incredible. Um, yeah, I would say that on a practical sense, people's general sense that life is doable increases, right? The general level of stress goes down
Mm-hmm.
without them having to change or do anything.
Yeah.
You
It
know, it's like
feels
the
like
yeah.
when you're speaking and then sharing this, it feels like since we are light and we are from the light, that all of these pieces of um, negative talk or beliefs that aren't ours are just parts that dim our light. And that dimming of the light is what makes us feel heavier and feel older because the heaviness makes us older. And then once you
Yeah.
release that, then that's when the light shines through from within. And that's why they're looking younger, their
Yeah.
vitality returns.
I mean, 100%. Valeria, when you said that, something that came up for me was how much energy, how much emotional energy and mental energy we spend trying to maintain these stories
Yes.
or these patterns that dim our light. So
Hmm.
it's like we're not only dimming our light, but we're actually using a ton of energy to do that. And
Yeah.
so it's not just letting the light out, it's also letting all of that energy, it's freeing up all that energy too.
Yeah. I can see that. I I had this this is coming through. I had this message that I channeled the beings of light, and this message came through several months ago about black holes. And black holes, from what I understood, were like something in space. They destroy everything. If you get close
Mm,
to it, that's it. You're done. You never come back. Whatever. It just destroys all matter that goes in. You can, and the force is too strong to come out. And what I channeled was that we are the black hole, and
mm,
that the black hole is within our hearts. And yes, it does destroy everything. It destroys the beliefs that we have taken as truth so that we can return to the self being. And
mm.
I had completely forgotten about this message that I got. But as you were talking about the light and releasing the heaviness and how much energy it takes, this came through and it just feels like it's relevant. So that's why I'm saying it.
Oh
Feels
yeah.
like it's relevant. Like how does it feel? How does it sit with you?
Oh, it at first when you were talking about it, I found myself like kind of intellectualizing it, like
Uh-huh.
thinking, trying
Yeah.
to, oh, what am I gonna say next? Um, and then as I sat with it, what was coming up for me is how the black hole is like a torus,
Hmm.
right? And that singularity is kind of the center of the torus, right?
Yeah.
And the what I've it's funny. Oh, why is that? Why is my battery on my computer not? Sorry,
No
folks.
problem.
Technical difficulty on the computer end of things here.
Yeah, I can pause
Um,
this. Okay.
okay, great.
Technical
We're back.
difficulties.
Um, so I was just reading some of Stephen Hawking's like original material on black
Uh-huh.
holes not too long ago, my wife and I. And what I find like really powerful about the ideas of black holes is the singularity.
Mm.
And you might be familiar with singularity talk because we're talking a lot of the AI conversations revolve around singularities. And I think singularities are really interest the idea of singularity or the idea of an event horizon
Hmm.
is really interesting. And I'm going to connect it to what we're talking about in terms of the heart here. Okay, so an event horizon or a singularity moment is a moment or a time or an event that we can see and understand everything that goes up to that point. And on the other side of it is an impossible knowledge that we cannot possibly know what's on the other side of that. So the mystery, right? And I think healing is like this, like what happens in the heart and how we transmute these stories, these patterns, these histories, these memories. It's a lot like that. We understand the history, the past, every single thing that's coming up to that point in the heart. And then we need to allow, right? We need
Yeah,
to
release it.
surrender. We need to release it.
Hmm.
And that's scary because we have no idea what is on the other side of that. Even though all these people tell us, oh, it's like, it's beautiful, it's bliss, it's joy, it's like releasing all of this baggage is like you're going to feel younger, you're going to have more energy, your health is going to come back, your chronic disease is going to be healed. And it's still scary because we, it's all we've known. It's
Yes.
all we've known.
That's the attachment of what we have been told is, and the negating of who we are, who we know what is, but we're being told that that's not true. This is what is. And now
Yep.
it's just kind of like needing to release all of that we've learned so we can go back to the knowing. It's kind of like when a child or anybody learns something and they say if you learn it wrong the first time, it'll take forever for you to learn it the right way. So learn it the right way the first time, right? So it's kind of like
Yep.
that. Like you're learning all of this being taught by our parents, any adults, right?
Mhm.
In our lives, our bosses, whomever it is. And we just take that as the truth. And then we have to deconstruct all of that so we can return to the self.
Yeah.
Ooh, got chills on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. And returning to the self is it's a pretty wild process.
Mm,
It can be pretty uncomfortable.
yeah.
And I've kind of connecting this back to the somatic work
Yes.
is when we make contact with the physical body and the sensations and what's happening inside of the body, it's a lot easier to differentiate between our thinking mind and these stories and ideas and opinions and right all these attachments. It's easier to distinguish between those things and what is happening right now in this moment.
Hmm.
And it's really curious what happens. And I won't say what happens because it's different for everyone.
Hmm.
And something will happen. It will be drastically different than what happens in the mind and these stories and these thinkings and these opinions and whatnot. And it can't be explained because it's an experiential difference. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, it's like the difference between walking and, riding in a car, it is not just how fast you get somewhere. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a whole different experiential process that really can't, you just, the only way it can be explained is by telling somebody, well, I was driving a car versus walking. And that experience in and of itself is 100% self-evident.
Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of shorts and videos about somatic work, and they show somebody doing some type of what looks to me like yoga poses or some type of movement that you're doing with the body to release. And that's all I've
Hmm.
seen, and it seems very enticing, like, ooh, what is that gonna do? Um, is the type of somatic work that you do similar to that, or is it different?
So it is different.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
it
had
is
a feeling,
different.
that's why I asked.
Yeah, and and I've been to I've worked with some somatic practitioners that do the different poses and different like vocalizations
Hmm.
and things like that. And it's awesome. Like I love doing that stuff. I love working with practitioners. I love going to yoga classes and dance classes
Hmm.
uh and I can sensory track. And so I can notice I have an awareness of what is happening as I'm doing this, right? And what I do is teach people that skill
Hmm.
so that when they go to a somatic practitioner, when they go to a yoga class, they're not just having a disembodied experience. Because you can do any type of physical therapy. You can go to the gym, you can do all kinds of things with your body and really not have any connection with the body.
Hmm. Right. Yes.
Just because you're putting your limbs, your arms and your legs and your back and you're putting yourself into these poses, that doesn't mean that you have an awareness of how your body is experiencing those poses.
This question came up as you were speaking. Can the awareness, when you said like I'm moving and I'm becoming aware of like the feeling within the body, can being aware of the feeling in your body get in the way by bringing
Mm.
thoughts like, oh, I have this pain. Oh, maybe it's, how we go to the negative part right away. Like,
So
can it,
that's
can it?
super. I know exactly what you're talking about. And absolutely. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And yeah, so you're like an anxious
Yes.
neurotype, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anxious neurotypes often have a a uh how would I explain this? A higher degree of somatic awareness,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're more intensely aware of what their body is doing, right? And when that's coupled with a higher degree of like neuroticism, right?
Yep.
Of projecting negativity just kind of as a personality trait, then we get anxiety. Right? It's like everything that I experience in my body is kind of translated into like these anxious thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that oftentimes can the somatic piece is can be important in contacting the nervous system to better understand and work with what's happening in the body and regulate it. But it can
Mm-hmm.
also turn into this uh, kind of like almost like a self-absorbed chasing of symptoms and trying to fix oneself constantly
Right. With the thoughts.
with the thoughts, right? And so this is where it's important to have both. It's important to have an intellectual scaffolding or ego scaffolding that can understand these things in a wider, wholer, more inclusive sense, which also includes a somatic awareness of, okay, well, what's my body doing on a physical level? And when those things can actually integrate with one another, then I might have anxiety, but maybe the anxiety is not producing suffering in me.
Mm. That's a great answer. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what is one of the things that you feel is so much more powerful in what you're doing now than what you were training to do
Mm.
before? Like, why
Oh
did you go
yeah.
into this?
I love this. This is a beautiful question. So much doctoring and even holistic and alternative practitioners,
Hmm.
dietitians, nutritionists, acupuncturists are really, our culture, our society. really supports operating in the cognitive, the intellectual
Yeah.
realm, right? I
Yes.
mean, yeah. And so we want information,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and the fact of the matter is that information doesn't heal.
Yes.
Information is great. Don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not a doctor who, thinks that we shouldn't, do x-rays and do, stitches and have surgery. Like, I don't, and there's a whole nother side of healing, of being healthy that doesn't have anything to do with the information. It has to do with our personal experience and our relationship with ourself and our relationship with information. Is information serving us, or is information causing this endless anxiety of and lists of things we should do, have to do, and then feel this pressure to achieve something that maybe we don't even want?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really kind of the like where my work really branches off from more, you know, typical naturopathic doctors and other holistic practitioners, is I'm very, very uh I really concentrate on people's relationship with themselves, and how that relationship manifests in the behaviors that they're trying to change, the therapies that they're using, so that this idea of some type of external fix,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going to find some type of, magic potion, perfect supplement regimen, perfect diet, perfect, exercise program, really changes into what's the perfect, whatever that is, what's the perfect diet for me?
Yeah.
What's the perfect exercise regimen for me? And how do I know that? That's what I do. How do I
Mm-hmm.
know that this is a perfect diet for me? It doesn't come from a lab test,
Yeah.
right? It comes from eating a diet that you know and that you feel and experience is a diet that's perfect for you. Now, lab testing might be a part of that, but you will never truly know that it's perfect until you experience the effects of eating that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I was having this
Yeah.
conversation with someone the other day about you just don't know what to go. They have vegans and then you have the meat eaters and then you have the keto and all of these things, and they all work for
Yeah,
some
they all
people.
work.
For
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people, right?
Amen.
But
Amen.
but they don't work for everybody. And then
Yeah.
we were coming to that conclusion that I think everybody's just different and you just have to see what works for you, right?
Mhm.
So this is what you're like talking about, which it's something that has gone out the window and in trying to find the information of what works for the masses and it doesn't. And then
Yeah.
when it doesn't work for us, then that's when the negative judgmental self-judgmental part comes in, right? Like I
Yeah.
failed.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there are all different reasons to eat certain ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's all different, I mean, there are spiritual and cultural and ethic, more moral reasons to eat
Mm-hmm.
certain ways, yeah, as well as health reasons. And those reasons are not health reasons. It all comes together, depending on how we're orienting to our life and to ourself and to the world.
Yeah. When you were talking about the the medical field when you're going to find information, but the information doesn't heal, like I immediately thought of right, like let's say you break an arm, you get an X-ray. Oh yeah, it's broken. It gets put back in position, you get a cast, then your
Mhm.
body heals it.
Your body heals it. Yeah.
Like the doctor's not healing it,
No.
right? You're healing it, and we're healing that without knowing how it's happening. Like
Yep.
the body just knows, and you just know that it's going to happen. So is this the same type of so the way that somatic healing works, that you bring it to the cusp, let's say, of like this is feel this, how does it feel for you? And then the body knows what to do in order to heal.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like using the body's innate knowledge and inner
Yeah.
wisdom to
Hmm.
heal the subconscious in a lot of ways. And by subconscious, we're kind of loosely using that as a term that embodies like the nervous system and nervous system regulation and things like that, as well as these psychic patterns.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting because like in the world that I live in with, the knowledge that I have, the subconscious is always the part that we're trying to get to, right? Like what's in your subconscious too that is, preventing this or having you believe whatever. And through your work, through this somatic transformations that you create, it's not just like going here into the subconscious, wherever that is, but it's being in the body to be able to
Mhm.
reach it.
Absolutely. Valeria, there's a question that's actually coming up for me,
Yeah,
for you.
go ahead.
Yeah. So this is or maybe it's for both of us, but
Mhm.
it's a question that I have been really curious to talk with other people about.
Okay.
And especially people, especially individuals like you who are channeling and are mediums and are intuitives and understand information and knowledge that I would explain as arising.
Uh-huh.
It just kind of comes from somewhere that's not myself.
Correct.
Okay, yes, okay, great. So we're on the same page there.
Hmm.
And I try to orient to this because I wouldn't consider myself a medium or
Hmm.
psychic by any means, but I would consider myself fairly intuitive, in the sense that things come to me from other places, and sometimes things come to me from my own mind and
Hmm.
their intellectualizations and their fantasies, and I'm curious. I know my answer to this question.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm curious, how do you differentiate between the two?
So when I'm receiving something, let's say I'm with a client, I just speak, and to me, it feels like I'm just having a conversation. I don't go into a trance. I just like I'm just receiving and I'm saying it. And as I'm saying it, I'm like, where did I get that? How did I
Hmm.
know that, right? And I'm questioning myself because I'm highly skeptical of myself,
I
right?
remember you saying this in one of your podcasts, your
Yes,
skepticism.
I'm
I
very
respect
skeptical.
that.
Yes. And so I'm saying it, and as I'm saying it, I start going into my mind, which stops the flow, right? As soon as you get into your mind, it stops the flow. And I'm
Okay.
thinking, where did I get that? Is that right? How would I know that? Right? And as this is happening, and it's all like split of a second, the person will confirm it. As
Okay.
soon as this confirmation on the other side, then I go back to connecting and, you know,
Mm.
receiving or saying or whatever it is that I'm feeling as a knowing. And it continues. But I do have those moments of like, where did that come from? Right? Like, so
Yeah.
that's one thing. Another thing, when I'm doing some type of like an automatic writing or I'm just channeling, like give me the answer to whatever, right? I'm
Yeah.
asking a question to a higher source. Um, it feels like more eloquent than what I would have spoken. Like the
Oh,
words
interesting.
are a little bit more easier to read, or they just flow. They make
Mm.
sense. They resonate with me right away. And it feels like, did I know that? Or like did I read that from somewhere and now it's coming, but it's so fast, so I don't know. I don't know, and I'm just telling you, like how it is,
Yeah.
but it's the feeling that it makes me feel, the answers that it provides, that makes me believe in it, because it's like if I wanted to make up something about you or something else, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be as good, as flowy, and as accurate as actually, you know, tapping into some higher source. And the reason that my podcast is called Healing Through You, and
Yeah.
it's because, and I received that too, it's that I'm not the healer.
Mm,
The healing is happening through you. The energy is coming through me into you, and it's healing through you. Like the energy is going through you. That's how
mm,
I understood it. Like I know I'm not the one doing it. I know that if I'm working with someone for a healing, they're the ones healing it. And I'm just the conduit to allow make that connection of like, hey, here's the higher consciousness or like your higher self or the divine, whatever it is that the person believes in, because it has to resonate with them. And I'm just making that connection so that they can see it, feel it, and allow themselves to heal.
yeah.
So that's kind. I'm is that the answer? That
Oh yeah. I mean, that's beautiful. I get really curious about that question because I think I mean in my work as I have this impression that our innate abilities to channel and to receive intuitive guidance is far more than we allow ourselves to experience.
mm, yeah,
And I have this idea in my head that being able to sensory track and being able to like feel what is happening in my body actually helps. It's a skill that helps distinguish between, okay, when what's happening when I'm thinking
yeah,
versus what happens when I'm like more in a flow.
yes,
Like, what does that flow feel like? So then I can be more attuned to it. You
yeah,
know, like
and
when is it arising? And then I can even do things like, okay, well, or I can be curious about what helps that state? What helps that flow state? What enhances that flow state? And are there things that pull me out of it? Like you said, well, when I start thinking about it, it pulls me out of it. Okay, well,
yeah,
then I know that there's a difference between thinking and this flow state.
yes,
Like, yeah, for me, I noticed that I have this, my heart feels like it splits open and
mm,
sets back, and this kind of like, I don't know, like this white, uh, like white cloud, like cloud-like substance kind of comes out of it, and I feel just this tenderness, like I sink into this kind of opening softness in my
mm,
heart, and then the I and the me separate.
yes.
So that I have this very keen awareness or perspective of I am not the body.
I
And
love
that's a
that.
really curious thing.
I love that. As you were explaining that, I'm feeling and thinking back, like, how do I feel? And I'm feeling like when, let's say when I meditate, right? And this has happened many times, and this is just me meditating on my own, that I would go into this space where I would feel so light. My body would feel so light. And I could have had like a headache or a pain somewhere. And when I come back, it's gone. And it's this feeling of like, oh, like, wow, like, what did I do or what happened? But the thing is that I don't question things. I just trust it, right? But it's that feeling, like you were saying, like you're kind of like out of your body. And then what I imagine is that we're connecting to higher source, higher light, being divine, and that's where the healing happens. Then you
Yeah.
return to your body, and then you feel great. But I do feel that as well because when I think, I feel a lot more like 3D human.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. Absolutely.
And when I'm just allowing the flow, it feels more like I'm floating.
Yeah.
But not to the point that you're saying it. Also, I wanted to bring this up because you explained so beautifully what you feel, your experience when you're receiving. When I was going down through my spiritual awakening, the Akashic Records was a big thing. It was a big deal,
Oh,
right?
yep. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
It was
I
all over
remember
the
when that was
place.
a big deal.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And I would watch people. going in and I would be like, gosh, that's so cool. How do I do that? So I would try and they would all explain their own experiences, just like you explain now. Oh, I feel
Yep.
like my heart comes out, right?
Yep.
And they would explain their own, like, I feel my crown opening. I feel this brush. And I was like, okay. And I would do it with them. And then the other people would be like, I have felt this, I had that. And I would be like, I got nothing. I got nothing. I don't feel anything. And just like you were mentioning before, I did something wrong. It doesn't work for
Yep.
me. I
Hmm.
can't do it, right? And all of this kept going until one time, I don't remember how this happened, but there was this one time when I was connecting and I got the message, the knowing you have always been in the Akashic records.
Mm.
And then that it felt like a back, like moving back through my life till childhood in like
Mm.
moments where I knew things when I was a child and like making those connections. And then I was like, oh, now it makes complete sense for me,
Yeah, for you.
right? And then I was like, this is why I don't feel crown opening or light
Mm.
flushing. It's because I'm already in it, but that's me. So in connecting like with other people who are maybe working at expanding their own spiritual gifts in
Yep.
whichever
Yep.
mode they want, listening to how other people do it is not always the best because
Yeah.
it's all inside and it's different for you.
Yeah. Oh, Valeria, I love that you said that. And I would add I would add this that listening to other people's experience is not always the best to inform yours.
Yes.
What we really need is for you to participate in the conversation,
Mm.
add your experience into the conversation so that we can, right, we can include and welcome different ways of knowing and different ways of accessing um these these things.
Yeah. Because there is no one way fits all. We're all
There's
so different.
there's no one way fits all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are I think these conversations are really important because there's no one size fits all, there's no road,
Hmm.
but the similarities of these experiences when we have them are very, very similar.
Yes.
Right? I mean, yeah, people are not explaining their experience in terms of, lack and negative. These are blissful, joyous, like beautiful experiences that people are having, and you'll know. You'll know when you're having it.
Yes, yes. I always tell people, take the teachings, take whatever resonates, and then make it your own.
Oh,
Go
beautiful.
within, figure out which parts of this are really for you, which ones you want to let go. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
who it is in front of you, doesn't matter what book it is or how famous the person is. You just take the parts that resonate with you and then you feel within, which brings it back to the somatic part of
Yeah,
feeling it in the body.
yeah, exactly, right? Like, yeah, and I think in that way we can use our somatic body to really like as a pressure test.
Hmm.
Like, is this real? Like, is this really offering me like a sense of calm and pleasantness and comfort? Is this what I need?
Yeah.
Or is it not? Do I feel like a tension and a holding and a resistance? And my mind is telling me that I should be comfortable with this, or I
Yes.
should be calm, or I should be relaxed. And that's a pretty big entry point. I oftentimes will help people distinguish between pleasantness and comfort.
Hmm.
Because when growing up in a dysfunctional home, dysfunctional family system, oftentimes what's comfortable and normal will not be pleasant.
Yeah.
So there'll be a difference there. It's like, oh yeah, I feel anxiety and I feel tension and I feel like a closing down, a separation, right? And that's normal. I feel super comfortable in that space. And then I'll ask somebody, well, is that a pleasant space for you? And they'll, no way. It's not pleasant. It's super comfortable, but no, it's not pleasant at all. And then it's really interesting to play around with pleasantness being uncomfortable.
Yeah, I love that you're
Like,
bringing that up.
yeah, it's really fascinating. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because most people like the definition of comfortable is supposed to be pleasant, right? Supposed to
Exactly.
be.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this is why so many people have so much resistance in going through and leaving some type of toxic environment
Oh yeah.
because it's comfortable.
It's comfortable. Yeah, it's normal.
Yeah,
There's some degree of safety there.
yeah, because it's just
And
known. You know what
yeah,
to
it's
expect.
known. Yeah, and that's where like other types of therapies like IFS parts work, right? Internal family systems parts work can really help integrate all of this material too, understanding how different parts of ourselves are interacting
Hmm.
behind the scenes to protect us, to give us certain needs, and how those parts can be conflicting with
Yes,
each other.
I
Yeah.
love that. Well, no, this has been such a beautiful, amazing. I love this conversation. Time has just flown by. Tell us, where can people go find you?
Yeah, so like I said, I practice in Saskatchewan, Canada, but I do see people all over the world virtually. My
Mhm.
website is tealholistic.com. That's teal like the color, like teal swan, tealholistic.com. And I did just write a book, and I have a 12-week video course on it. The book is called The Witness and the Four Behaviors: An
Mm.
Honest and Kind Guide to the Art of Self-Healing. And it's an experiential journey kind of through these 12 sessions with me. It's kind of written in a very conversational way to simulate a kind of a process of understanding and relating to the self, and then relating to four behaviors, which are thinking, relating, movement, and eating
I
in
love
a
that.
totally different way. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I love that. It's amazing. I love uh this type of book that, you can get the book and then do the work on your own if that's
yeah,
what calls for you and, at your own pace, and have that tool as an option. So thank you. I'm gonna
yeah,
put all
absolutely.
of your information in the notes. So
Cool.
if you guys didn't get it and you're listening, just go on the notes to get it so that you can get in touch with Dr. Note. And yeah, amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Valeria. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, bye bye.